Ronaldo is the GOAT, unless Messi wins the World Cup, is what Chelsea OG said. But Ronaldo has hit 700 league club goals now. I mean, are there any more words to use to describe the overall brilliance and career of this man?
Yeah, 100%. There's three words. Worse than Messi. Lionel Messi is forever the GOAT. Cristiano, fantastic player. Lionel Messi is a footballer will forever be better. Forever be better in terms of what he does on the ball, how he dribbles, how he creates. Cristiano Ronaldo there is a 100% case for arguments as the best goal scorer of all time. The amount of finishes he gets.
I want to interject for a minute. I get that you prefer Messi. Let's just take Messi out of the equation. How good is Cristiano Ronaldo's career?
Fantastic. If you were to give any footballer Cristiano Ronaldo's career without context, taking it in a heartbeat, swapping any career for it, 5 Champions Leagues. Is it 5 Ballon d'Ors?
I think.
Got multiple league titles, multiple cups. Anyone has taken that in a heartbeat and an international trophy, which is one of the hardest things to win. Anyone's taken that. And he's done it being the best player, playing multiple roles. You have to give credit to him for that. But Messi's better.
Yeah, and I think, listen, what frustrates me about the conversation, and I get why you're saying that, you're a Liverpool fan, Ronaldo's achieved like almost as much as your whole football club's history. Like,
wow.
in terms of, success, he's better than any player that's ever played for your club. So I get that what he is, because he's, whether people say Messi's the best or Ronaldo's the best, they're the top 2 ever. And I get the hate that a United legend is one of the top 2 footballers of all time. But I think what frustrates me about the conversation is people never just talk about Ronaldo. They always come in with, but I think Messi's better. The conversation isn't that Messi's better. If I want to speak about how good Floyd Mayweather is as a boxer, I don't expect, but I think Ali was better. Yeah, but I'm asking you how good Mayweather was, or I'm asking you how good Canelo is, or I'm asking you how good Lennox Lewis was. And I think sometimes it's frustrating that you can't talk about one without the other one kind of being mentioned. And equally, what you then get into is sort of like, one's clear of the other, one's clear of this. And that's a preference thing for me. But when I look at Ronaldo, and I know he's getting a lot of stick at the minute because he's fallen off from being one of the greatest, being at that level. But do you think 700 club goals is astronomical? And when you also feel that he was only on 40 odd goals at 22 years of age. And I use that as an example because Haaland is already on 175. To put it into context, Haaland would have to score 40 goals a season every season for the next 15 years to catch Ronaldo. Like, that's how many, I guess, career goals. And I think how good Haaland is. Haaland's got to maintain this level for a decade and some to catch Ronaldo. That's how good it is. It's phenomenally good.
It's a great achievement, completely. I think it's insane, the capabilities. And I think, unfortunately, no matter who you're talking about, whether it's Ronaldo, Messi, Mbappe, Haaland, unfortunately, you cannot talk about one without the other. It's just the nature of the beast. With that being said, I think, unfortunately for Ronaldo, well, not unfortunately for Ronaldo, but when you have these conversations, a lot of people who are maybe 16 and that kind of age range haven't necessarily seen the Ronaldo that we've grown up seeing. The Ronaldo that you've seen in the last, 4 or 5 years is kind of the Ronaldo that they have in their minds when you try and discuss him. So it makes the conversation a little bit more difficult to have when you actually talk about, because when you say 700 goals, that seems insane. But when you lived it and you saw that, it really was, as you said, astronomical. And I don't think anyone will actually touch 700 career goals again. I don't think anyone does.
Yeah, like him and Messi are going to do it. It's just an interesting one for me. And I get people want to play him down and slag him off. And I am protective of him because I'm a Man United fan, but I just enjoy him. Like, I prefer Ronaldo to Messi as a preference. I like the directness of his play. Of course, I've got an affinity and a soft spot because he played for Man United and he gave us some of the greatest moments in our club's history. But I like him. But I think Messi is sensational. I can't understand football fans that use one to play off against the other. I blame the parents again. Terrible parenting that they do that. Like, education on football is awful. But they're both just so good. And I don't think there are enough words in the dictionary to be able to describe the levels of consistency, the dedication to the sport. And what I love about Ronaldo is this guy came to England as an 18-year-old and took over and changed. People talk about inventing positions. The inverted forward. You read Gary Neville's book Red, and what he started doing changed that position for footballers. He then moved to the left. He then moved centrally. He then became an out-and-out striker. But he moved to Spain and smashed it, become an absolute monster in the Champions League, moved to Italy, multiple goals, league titles. He even comes back to England, is playing for one of the worst Man United teams in 40, 50 years, and has still been our top goal scorer. To have gone to all those leagues and to have dominated, to have won things internationally, to be the highest international goal scorer in the history of the world, to do all of those things, I just don't like the thing of putting Messi into the conversation. Whether you think Messi's better or not, just for a moment, talk about how good Ronaldo is, because I just think it's disrespectful.
If you were to remove Messi from footballing history, Cristiano Ronaldo would be the unanimous GOAT by far. That's how good both their careers have been. If you were to remove one from the equation, both of them have been that good and have put numbers up that ridiculous that you would sit there and never conceive of a player doing that again.
I think they both needed each other.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Do you think if Messi didn't exist, that Ronaldo would be Ronaldo and vice versa?
That because it was that like mid to late 2010s period where you'd have Messi winning a few in a row, then Ronaldo would come back winning a few in a row in terms of Ballon d'Ors, and then Messi would win one, Ronaldo would win one. It pushed them on to reach levels that they would never have probably met if it was just.
Well, I think yeah, you're right. I think if you look at tennis, we've just witnessed. I mean, they're all coming to the end now. Djokovic is still pretty strong, but Nadal, Federer, Djokovic. I believe that the reason they've all got so many slams is because of each other. They kept each other going. If Federer was clear and nobody was near him at all, he might have faded 4, 5, 6, 7 years earlier, because you get bored. The fact that those three kept each other. You know, the one guy that probably, and there was a picture of them all on the boat, you had Andy Murray in that mix. Like, I always felt sorry for Andy Murray, because if one of those guys weren't around, Murray probably wins anywhere between like 5 to 10 more Grand Slams in his career. And I do think you're right, Jess. I think they needed each other. They pushed each other. They kept each other fit and healthy and scoring. I think one of the biggest reasons Ronaldo wanted to leave this year was he wanted to try and keep scoring Champions League goal. You know, every night when Messi scores in the Champions League this season, it's going to hurt Ronaldo, because he wants that record, and he wants those, and those two players are two of the only players out there that I think have the right to chase personal records, because they've won everything else barring the World Cup. And, if one of them was to add that to the mix, and I can't see either but winning it, by the way, this time around, but if one of them added that to the mix, they would just have everything that you could ever imagine. And I love them both together. They're both not going to get it. They're both too old now. They both win a World Cup, but yeah, it's great to see Ronaldo do it. And do I want to see him move on from United? Yes, because my club is more important than any player. But I do feel that ironically, he is one of the most disrespected players I've come across on social media, based on how good he is to what people say about him. I actually read people saying things like, yeah, but he's never been that good a dribbler. And I'm like, bruv.
That's what I mean.
To say Ronaldo couldn't dribble, of course, Messi's a better dribbler than him. But to say he couldn't dribble when he was younger, I remember we did it in the studio. Javena, remember this? Back in the old studio, Have Hope was like, he could never dribble. And then it took 30 seconds. He went on YouTube, Ronaldo dribbling, and it was just him twining up everyone in the Premier League. And then Have Hope sat again, yeah, but that's not really a dribble, is it? Like, so what is a dribble then? And he goes, well, he didn't weave through with 1 foot like Hazard does. I'm like, so now you're like,
Hope is an agenda merchant.
Yeah, I know, but there's a lot of people that had them kind of agendas. It's crazy.
The one that sat there and told me Erling Haaland can never be great because he doesn't look nice on the eye.
I mean, give it 10 years and see if Mbappe and Haaland have the same kind of back and forth in terms of like Ballon d'Ors, things like those kind of things will come in.
Yeah,
you're right. And I think the differences between Mbappe and Haaland are almost as in terms of there's a contrast between them in the same way. They're different types of players who both score and perform and deliver at similar rates. So it's going to be very, very intriguing to see like which one of them kind of comes out on top. But and the PR game is important as well. Like, so right now it feels like Haaland's in the Prem, the biggest league in the world, so he's got a lot more eyes on him. Mbappe even needs to come to the Prem or go to La Liga, I think, to actually. You need the eyes on you. You need the eyes on you, because people still aren't. People aren't watching the French leagues because you can just check the viewing figures. No one's watching it. And they're not watching him either. So he needs to get himself to a league where millions and millions around the world each week are watching those games, because that's when status is half the the battle when it comes to these types of awards and accolades. It's status and being seen.
What about popularity as well? Like just likability. Do you think that comes into play? Because Mbappe is not at the moment very likable at a young age. And Haaland seems like a nicer person to be around. I do think those things come into play when people start talking about years ago. I know that like obviously you'll compare goals and stuff, but I'm looking at it and I'm like,
I think that's why
right now I just like Haaland better.
You're right, because when you even look at the discourse over Pele, he's he's one of the greatest ever. But the way he's become so unlikable as a person, people almost kind of take him away from the conversation.
They'll never say it against him. I would say I just don't like him, but they'll use it subconsciously to go against him.
You do the joke, he's had 10 more goals for this thing now.
You've got it with, Maradona, the late, great Maradona. Obviously, there was always, I remember doing a stream that I think it was a day or day after he passed away with Rants and Grizz. And I'm kind of talking about how the English people had always been a little disrespectful of Maradona. The same as the Irish. If you actually went around and barring Arsenal fans asked the Irish, what do you think of Thierry Henry? That most Irish would not put Thierry Henry down as any kind of GOAT because of what he did to them with that handball. And that's how England fans felt about Maradona, because he did cheat in that game. And Maradona, of course, lost a lot of support from people because of the drugs, because of and everything else that he kind of did. But he was one of those there's a handful of these people in every industry in the world. No matter how bad or naughty or what they do, they're so talented that people forgive them. Paul Gascoigne has done a lot of mad things, but people in this country love him because he was so good at football. There's certain musicians and actors that have done some mad things, and everybody still listens to their music. Why? Because it was so good. But personality is massively important. And Haaland's have got a character. Haaland's funny. I have never actually heard Mbappe speak. I don't know what his personality is like. And when I saw that footage of him bumping into Messi recently, I just saw, this contract where he's kind of like a quote unquote sporting director or whatever it is. These things won't help him in terms of people liking him. And the one thing with Messi and Ronaldo, barring Real Madrid fans won't like Messi, and Barca fans and Liverpool fans and probably Arsenal fans as well won't like Ronaldo. Teams that he hurt, but the majority of football love them both. Unless they're putting them off against each other. So of course it's important. And I think that's always why Henry, no matter what Aguero did, was always going to be seen as better, because Henry was one of those players that fans of all clubs liked and respected, right from his footballing ability, right down to va-va-voom.
It's almost that aura. When Thierry Henry was there, even though I didn't get to, it's that va-va-voom, that aura. Them moments that he had, that free kick against Wigan, was it? Where he sits there, puts it in, gets ruled out, does it again, and just sits there and goes, "That good enough."
Yeah, there's nothing you can do but just respect it.
There's a swagger and a personality to it. Eric Cantona had it as well. It was key.